Currently, my blood sugar is sitting at 113 with a slight arrow headed up. I had a little bit of a sweet treat in between lunch and dinner here just to kind of satisfy myself, and I have to change my pump out. I think I have 2 more hours before like the 8-hour grace period is over, so I'm just going to kind of wait. I think I have like 13 more units of insulin left and just kind of use up as much of that as possible before I change my pump out. So with that being said, we'll jump into today's video. Hey everyone, it's Maddie. Welcome back to my channel. As you can tell, I am filming outside again on my porch. Looks like it's about ready to rain. Not like pour rain, but the sky's kind of getting gray, so I thought I would film a couple of videos for this week out here. And today's video, I'm going to be talking about my 3 Dexcom sensors that failed on me right in a row and kind of what happened and how Dexcom treated me. So first of all, if you have any bad sensors, you need to call Dexcom or you need to call the customer support that you use for your sensors, because they should stand behind their products and replace them if something goes wrong. Dexcom, I have never had a complaint. They've always replaced faulty sensors for me and have had excellent customer service in my aspect. At least in my opinion, they've been amazing company. I wouldn't undo having a Dexcom G6 continuous glucose monitor. It is like the best investment I've ever made. It's so accurate and it's so amazing to know where my blood sugar is and what direction it's headed. So anyways, so the week I got my insulin pump, so this is the week of May 20th, I replaced a sensor because it was kind of old. I think I had left it on for like 15 days or something like that. So I just ripped it off, put a new one on. I put it on my outer thigh. Well, it was reading really good, but every time I would test my blood sugar, it would be like 40 to 50 points higher or lower than I actually was. So like it would say like my blood sugar was 170 when it was actually 120, or if I would eat food or take insulin to correct a high blood sugar, it wasn't showing the drop. And that's not good when you can't see the drop, because then you don't know if your dose worked properly, and especially since they were still trying to figure out dosing for me. So I actually left that on for like 3 days. I called them and told them, hey, this sensor is inaccurate. It's reading really off. Every time I test, it's really off, more than 50 or 60 milligrams per deciliter off. So you're talking 3 to 4 millimoles per liter off, which is a huge difference, and you can't dose off of that, or you can't make a decent treatment decision, or you don't get a good picture of where your blood sugar is sitting at that time. So then, not a problem, we replaced your sensor. And I found it kind of odd that they asked what my weight was, but I want to know if any of you have been asked what your weight is from Dexcom, because this is the first time they asked me how much I weighed for FDA reasons. I have no clue why, but I just told them I weigh 148 pounds, and that was the end of it. But I found that really strange. So they replaced that sensor. So I put a new one on the back of my arm. The sensor warms up, and then it immediately tells me my blood sugar is 45. When I clearly know it's higher than that. My blood sugar was actually like 150. So I go to calibrate it. Calibration error. I've had calibration error sensors in the past that haven't worked, and I've had to call in and replace them. But they usually say give it 3 calibrations, and if it doesn't work, do it again. So I did it like 2 or 3 more times, and it wouldn't take. It would take the blood sugar, what I had put in, and then it would vanish, and it would just be like, there would be like nothing there. So then I called again and said, hello, I have a calibration error. We need to replace the sensor. And they had talked for a little bit, and he said, yeah, any calibration error with the G6, if it doesn't take the blood sugar, he said 95% of when you are prompted to calibrate on the G6, unless you didn't put the code in, if you put the code in and you are prompted to calibrate, there is something wrong with the sensor. So they replaced that sensor. I put a new one on. And where did I put it? On my abdomen. It was actually something I documented during my basal insulin testing vlog. Having all these Dexcom errors was really frustrating to me, not because like I wasn't worried they were going to get replaced, only because I was still figuring out how to fine-tune my insulin pump and my basal settings, and in order to get a really good picture for everything that's happening, I can't see what's going on unless this Dexcom is working properly. So I put a 3rd sensor on, or I put another sensor on that same day. So they replaced the one off my thigh, they replaced the one off my arm, so now I'm going to put on a sensor on my abdomen. 2-hour warm-up goes. I get a calibration, or I get the alert that my blood sugar is LOW when it first starts, when the warm-up is done. I finger prick, and I was like, I don't know, 119 or 109. I was somewhere in there. I calibrated it. It wouldn't take it 2 times. And then finally, by the 3rd time, it took it. Then it read blood sugars for a little while. Then when my blood sugar started heading up, it totally cut out and gave me a calibration error again that you need to calibrate the sensor. So I didn't deal with the bull crap. It was kind of getting late that night anyway. I know they have 24-hour customer service, but I just ripped the sensor off, ended it, and I said I'd call in the morning, and I went to bed without Dexcom. So thank God, because I knew my overnight basal was pretty well set. I didn't feel uncomfortable going to bed with a 177 and a 1-unit insulin on board, but I did get up in the middle of the night and check, and my blood sugar was 100, and I woke up with a blood sugar in the 80s. So kind of strange to not go to bed with Dexcom. I've had this happen to me only a couple other times when I was transitioning between paying for my sensors through my insurance and now paying them outright because they don't cover them as well. Back in March, I had like a 2 or 3 day period. Oddly enough, when I had the flu, that I was without Dexcom. When I started having flu-like symptoms. But anyways, it's a whole another story that I've already talked about. So I went to bed without Dexcom. I called the following day and said I had another sensor error, or a calibration error. So they replaced it, and they said, we're going to do a troubleshooting thing with you, and we're going to kind of clear the catch, or we're going to kind of do a troubleshooting thing, because they never did anything with this with me. So this is something I'm going to tell you what happened. So I was down to my last sensor. What she made me do was go ahead and uninstall the Dexcom G6 app, then reinstall it, log back into Dexcom, and then follow the prompts as if you've just begun using Dexcom for the first time. Go through, and they show you all the videos. You just hit next, 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 and then they ask you to enter no code, and then they ask you to put the sensor on, and then enter the code, and then put the transmitter ID back in, and then do a 2-hour warm up. Let me tell you, it worked. And this is the sensor that I've been wearing. I put it back on my abdomen, and I'm so thankful that we were able to get this one to work. So I don't know if this sensor actually was a good sensor because they did a troubleshooting thing, but who knows, maybe if the 2 in that box were okay sensors, it's just because there was some sort of update glitch or software glitch that's why that was happening. However, I really don't think so, because even if the software isn't updated, the Dexcom itself should be reading numbers right off the bat that I don't expect it to be perfect right at the very beginning, but I expect within 24 to 48 hours for it to be pretty close. So when I immediately get a notification that my blood sugar is LOW or 45, well then yeah, there's something totally wrong, because I definitely know I'm not at that level. I don't get to those levels very, very often, and rarely, except in that one case, which I did a low blood sugar experience video for you guys. But anyways, so that is a troubleshooting thing you can go through. So I'll repeat the steps here in case any of you are finding that you're having a lot of sensor failures. So go ahead and uninstall the Dexcom G6 app, reinstall it on your phone, log back in, and then follow the prompts. When you first put the sensor in, hit no code, and then go through all the prompts, and then it'll ask you to insert the sensor and enter the code, and then put the transmitter in, and then you start fresh. And thank God it's been able to work, but I've gotten 2 of the 3 sensors replaced so far that have come to me. The 3rd one is coming in the middle of this week, and I'll have that sent to me. So Dexcom had to replace the whole month's worth of sensors for me because they all failed. But things do happen in manufacturing, and sometimes I wonder how they're making these things, if they're making these things so cheaply that they're not paying attention to the quality. And if you're not paying attention to the quality, you're going to have to be replacing these sensors, and I think it probably annoys them. However, you need to think about maybe if the product is not being made properly in the first place, how can you not reassure yourself that you're going to end up having to replace these later? So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this story time of how I had a whole box of sensors fail on me, all in 1 week, all when I started my insulin pump. So that was a total nightmare, a total wreck. But I'm back in business. We're doing good. Happy to have a working Dexcom G6 sensor and a working platform now, and a working sensors that I got resent and replaced. So anyways, want to let you guys know that, like I said, I did one other story time back in like December or January of my very first Dexcom problem. I've had a couple others since then, plus these 3 in a row. Do know that because the G6 is a newer model, do expect a lot of errors and sensor failures and whatever the case may be, don't be afraid to reach out to Dexcom, and they should replace the product. If they give you hell about it, speak to somebody else, because they need to stand behind their product. If they're not standing behind their product, that is not good. But every time I've called, they've given me fantastic customer service. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Feel free to hit that subscribe button down below. I post videos every single week about diabetes plus more. And until next time for more videos, take care, God bless, be kind, spread positivity, and be thankful. Bye, everyone.